Good afternoon and welcome to your favorite weekly current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. My name is Egosa. I must tell you that today's program promises to bring you detailed analysis of what is happening in the country. Our focus is on the amendments bill, talking about the amendment to the 1999 Constitution, and over 60 clauses were attended to by the National Assembly. And on this program, we'll be looking at, taking a cursory look at some of the bills that stayed true, that were passed, and some of the bills that were rejected. For the women, only yesterday there was a protest by civil society organizations, women groups, because the gender bill did not stay true. We'll look at all of that. And of course, some other very touching issues that I know that some Nigerians have a reason to celebrate. And it has to do with the autonomy for local government administration, also financial autonomy. So those who gain the autonomy, they are celebrating because it is believed that it is long overdue. But like I said, we'll take a cursory look at what transpired in the National Assembly in terms of the bills and what the lawmakers did to the bills. Well, joining me to dissect the topics that we have today, we'll also look at the Autonomy bank robbery if time allows us under the issue of security. So we have very distinguished gentlemen with us. We have a clergyman and also an analyst, Apostle Dr. Elvis Agbonaima. Nice to have you today.
Thank you.
And let me quickly just congratulate you. Apostle has been awarded a doctorate degree, and that's why we are calling Dr. Elvis on the program. Congratulations.
Yes. God bless you.
Okay.
God bless
So we also have Osagie Irunse with us, seasoned analyst, communication strategist, and is into a lot of things, into advocacy and a lot of things. Nice to have you on the program today.
It's my pleasure, Egosa. Thank you so much for having me. Good afternoon, viewers.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we are looking at the constitutional amendment bills, what the lawmakers did to these bills. Over 60 bills attended to. But let me just situate it properly so you can really understand what we're talking about. Lawmakers voted on 68 amendments to the 1999 Constitution. Now, the autonomy was granted to local governments. Don't forget that that is a very contentious issue. It is believed that the third tier of government is almost eroded in this country because some persons believe that the issue of joint accounts between the state government and the local government has affected the efficacy of local government administration. So they've been given the autonomy and financial autonomy as well. And I believe that when this is implemented, it will be better off. Well, I'll just allow, the director will allow us to see the templates now of some of the highlights of what transpired in terms of the voting by Nigerian lawmakers on over 60 amendments to the 1999 Constitution. The lawmakers also rejected some bills. Yes, we have it now. The lawmakers also rejected some bills, while some bills were passed. And while we have it on the screen, the House of Representatives has voted against Bill 16, which proposed life pension for presiding officers of the National Assembly in the amendments to the 1999 Constitution. Why 162 members voted for the provision, 193 voted against, and 3 others abstained. Now, others. Below is, we have the financial autonomy for local governments, like I said. We have administrative autonomy for local governments, both passed. We have financial independence for state, House of Assembly, and state judiciary, passed. B, to compel persons to obey or comply with legislative summons, passed. Inauguration of members elect of the national and state houses of assembly, passed. B, to institutionalize legislative bureaucracy in the Constitution, passed. Overriding presidential veto, rejected. Overriding executive veto in respect of money bill, rejected. Procedure of removing presiding officers of the legislature, rejected. Life pensions for presiding officers of the National Assembly, rejected. Fair hearing in the process of recommendation of removal of judicial officers by the State Judicial Service Commission, passed. Inclusion of judges of the National Industrial Court in the composition of election tribunal, rejected. Devolution of power of the National Industrial Court in the composition of election. Oh, sorry, let me take that again. Devolution of power to move airports from exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list, passed. Devolution of power to move fingerprints, identification, and criminal records from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list, passed. Devolution of power to delete prisons in the exclusive legislative list and redesignate it as correctional services in the concurrent legislative list, passed. Devolution of power to move railway from the exclusive legislative list to concurrent legislative list, passed. Devolution of power to allow states to generate, transmit, and distribute electricity in areas covered by the national grid, passed. Devolution of power, value-added tax on the exclusive legislative list, rejected. Okay? Special seat for women in national and state House of Assembly, rejected. Expansion of the scope of citizenship by registration, rejected. Affirmative action for women in political party administration, rejected. Qualification to become an indigene of a state in Nigeria, rejected. B, to empower ROMAFC to enforce compliances with remittance of accruals into and disbursement of revenue from the Federation account and streamline the procedure for reviewing the revenue allocation formula, passed. B, to enhance the independence of certain bodies, passed. Removal of transitional lawmaking powers from the executive arms of government, passed. So these are some of the bills, but I want us to take it one after the other. We can't just look at all, but the ones that we know that is very crucial, let's look at the issue of the issue of life pension. Let's start from that, because we know that there was a lot of stress generated from that, a lot of uproar by Nigerians when they heard about life pensions, that some political office holders are entitled to life pensions. But that of the National Assembly now, of course, the Senate President would have enjoyed it. The Speaker, House of Representatives, would have enjoyed it if passed, but it was rejected. The Deputy Senate President would have enjoyed it. The Deputy Speaker would have enjoyed it. So let's start from there. Do you think the National Assembly, in their wisdom, did the right thing for voting against that life pension for these senior political office holders of the National Assembly? Let's start with Dr. Elvis Agbonaima.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
For me, it is worth celebrating for being rejected.
Okay.
Because that particular act was out of wickedness. Because if you look at what Nigeria is going through, that bill, I was happy it was rejected. Because if that bill was passed, I believe it would have sparked out a lot of protests everywhere. Because the Nigeria economy, things are not working. Now, if you look at what is happening in the system, and such a bill came out in short, the people that proposed that bill, they need to go and check if they are normal due to what is happening in our country. Now, having said that, for me, constitutional amendment is good, but where the problem lies is implementation. It's good in making law, but when you make a law and you fail to implement it, it's as good as doing nothing. Because our Nigerian constitution has a lot of law that would have favored us, the masses. But the implementation, that is where the lacuna is. That is where the problem is. Now, I was even happy talking about the local government autonomy. If you look at what has happened in the years past, a lot of states, many states, almost all, they're shocking the local government. For example, if you look at Edo State now, all till now, local government election has not been done. And nothing is being said about it. You know, outside Edo State, it happened in so many states. You know, financially, the election, everything that has to do with the do with the local government, you know, the state governor of most of these states, you know, they sit on it. You know, they dictate what happened there. And that's why I was happy when the local government autonomy was, you know, the law, you know, to give them autonomy were passed. I was very happy. And I want to see, you know, the implementation. Because the laws, when you look at what has happened from the bill that became law now, the one they have passed, you know, it's very encouraging. But we the people, we the Nigerians will be happy if the implementation begin to manifest. Because it's the implementation that will make us happy, not just, coming out with the law. It is the implementation. Because when we now see that local government in reality is now, you know, really autonomous, we will be happy. And talking about the other one, when the one that was rejected for women to have a special seat, I was happy because it's not done. If the women is to have a special seat in the National Assembly, are you going to create a special? Whoever that came out with that bill would have created, would have come out with a special constituency, because it is not done anywhere. You get it now. Okay. You know, if the women want to fight, I think they will start from the political party. You know, and again, it is not going to be easy for you to just be giving, like people used to say, national cake. You know, our governor, a few days back said, the national cake is not enough to share anymore. You know, it is true. Yeah. Now, you don't expect you want to be a legislator, then they will just give you a special seat. You have to work for it. Respect is earned. You know, there's a certain thing, you have to earn it. You have to work hard for it. You know, when I see women, there are women in this society that are well respected. You get it now? Anywhere. If, they are well respected, even in their family, in their generation, in their state, in their local area, they are well respected. Why? Because that respect they are enjoying, majority of them earn it. But as a woman, if you are just expecting for a man to just leave the seat so you can enter, it doesn't work like that. You know, there are so many women that are well respected in our society. We have them in Nigeria. You know, I think I was happy when that particular bill was thrown out. Okay. Because it would have caused a lot of commotion. Okay.
We'll come back to you. I can see that Apostle Elvis Agbonayima just had to comment on the some aspects of the different bills. But let's take Comrade Runse. Looking at, because I want us to take it one after the other. Yeah. Looking at the life pension, which was proposed. Okay, proposed life pension for presiding officers of National Assembly, which was rejected. What's your take on that?
Anyway, let me quickly say that, first of all, establish that all over the world, when you talk about the move to amend the Constitution, okay, is a welcome development. Yes. Because it is popularly seen as a move to better the lot of the people, not necessarily some selected few. Okay. Now, I want to give you a little analysis about that law, which we are happy faith, which is laughable. For me, it is laughable in the first instance. Okay. That the Senate had to even brought it among the laws that they wanted to amend, because it has never been popular in terms of sampling public opinions. Okay. You know, the issue of life pension for selected officers and the issue of, what do you call it? There's another issue that has to do with immunity for legislative officers. Yes. It has never been popular. Even in the public censors and interrogation and the town halls that were done, there were no time that such thing were ever brought to the floor or to the floor.
Yes.
Not to talk about assented to by the public.
Okay.
You see, so for me and some other persons that have been monitoring the trend right from when they were public hearing and all of that, it was surprising to even see that some of those clauses were even part of those to be suggested for amendment in the first place.
Okay.
You know, my fear is this, Egusa. You see, what is the purpose of having the National House Assembly? What is the purpose of voting for or against a certain amendment in the provision of our constitution, in this case, Nigeria in question?
Okay.
There is this mentality that our elected leaders have, which for me is saddened and is heartbreaking. It's a mentality of a win and loss game for them,
okay,
and which is wrong. When an average senator think of amending the constitution or giving his stance on a certain bill, the first thing he thinks about is how does he profit me and my colleague. Now, I'll give you a recent example, because these are facts that are in the public space.
Okay.
Just recently, there was a discourse about the issue of, there was a certain bill which actually failed, which have not been completed in terms of the processes, about medical tourism, how taxpayers' money shouldn't be used for medical tourism. You could recall, sir, that when a key officer in the Senate rose up to say, I second, just some minutes after he rose up again and said, please, I want to withdraw my second. Now, I was appalled, because not just because he was withdrawing, but the reason he gave. You know the reason he gave? He said, because I discovered it will affect my colleagues. That's absorbed. Like I said, it's only in Nigeria that some certain things that can just be allowed to go by, and we just sit down and say, oh, we just laugh over it. Because if some of these things were to happen in some developed and advanced country, they will be recalled. Such a senator should be recalled back. He's not fit to represent anybody, not to talk of any constituency.
Yes.
Now, I cited that as an example to show you the mentality, the ideology of majority of the members of the current 9th Assembly. I hold the opinion that whether legislative or executive, for me, I have my reasons, I have my proof. This is the worst set of leadership we have ever had in the history of this nation.
Your personal opinion?
My personal opinion. That's why I said I hold the opinion, and I have my reasons. The time may not be there to enumerate.
Yes.
But we have been monitoring the social happenings, the systems.
Yes.
Now, for the legislator to even conceive the idea, first of all, there is already a national clamor. Now, you now start asking yourself, who do these people actually represent? Themselves or the people? Because over the years, what we see is the people that represent their interest. So the purpose of constitutional amendment is not seen as a win-lose for the populace, but for them, the elected. So the people that wield the power, tactfully, intelligently, find a way to rob the people that give them such power in order to satisfy their personal interest. For you to also bring it as one of the constitutional amendment points to talk about pension is absorbed, is insulting.
I can see you're very emotional about
it. Because I've talked about this severally, and some of my colleagues. It is insulting to our collective intelligence. It's tantamount to making Nigerians think we don't think, or we are not following the processes of the different public hearing that led to this. So it's absorbed for someone to come up and say, hey, you still want to attend for a life pension. Now, currently, it has been a debate for over the years that Nigeria runs about the most expensive government system, globally speaking. We have an elaborated, budget that runs the government. The government architecture is so large that we are even clamoring for a possible amendment that can reduce this, lengthy and complicated government structure that we currently maintain. We are even asking that possibly there should be a cut pay for some of our representatives. There's someone who is also advocating that a man who has served for 4 years or possibly 8 years, as the case may be, depending on the issue of re-elections, and have made so much money by way of basic salary and other allowances, wardrobe allowance, sweeping allowance, sitting allowance, what have you, and not to talk of the contracts that they also have by level of their positions, not to talk of budget padding. We've heard about that over the years. That after 4 years or 8 years of serving, you should become a pensioner. When my mother worked for you for about 35 years of service, she gave the best part of her life. My father was transferred to an hitherto remote village with no light, no water. How After 35 years, it's a battle to get his pension or gratuity. It's a battle for him to be registered. Some of them have died on the queue all over this nation. It has been on news. Now, somebody that has served for 4 years and 8 years, with the juicy nature of those offices, is still asking that he wants to be a pensioner. It's an insult to our collective responsibility.
Okay.
It's tantamount to those guys telling us that we made a mistake for electing them in the first place. So for me, it's absurd, it's unacceptable, and we are happy that that bill did not stay through, because definitely there would have been a lot of clamor from my own end and the end of some of my colleagues. Because it's unacceptable. We are battling, we're trying to prevent you from using our money for medical tourism. You said no, you will continue to use it because of your personal interest. We are battling with immunity. We are even complaining that the immunity on the governors and the presidency and some few selected office holders is giving way for impunity and allowing some certain operations to go on, which are not really comfortable with those of us that elected them. Then you have the legislator telling us to extend such immunity.
Let me interject. Agreed, this bill has been rejected. But don't you think there could be a school of thought? Now, if you have actually interrogated some persons, some Nigerians, they'll tell you, make public office less attractive. Political offices less attractive. Now, if these lawmakers, if they are to receive same salary structure, just like civil servants, and the issue of life pension is attached, don't you think things would have changed? Do you get my analysis?
Yes, thank you so much. You see, what you said is what a position that some of us have been taking over the years. For me, unequivocally, I've said it on different forums. You should make them civil servants. In the first place, you know what you have? There'll be less attention in public offices. Because the reason why people can kill themselves, go any length, is simply because of the juicy nature of those offices. But by the time they become civil servants, it's a good start. Even at that, you will now have to look at how many years do they have to stay in such cases to even think that they may now become pensioners. Those are equations to actually solve. But let me quickly round up this way. You see, I want us to realize that it is the future of Nigerians we are touring with in this regard. I want us to realize that the Ninth Assembly, for me, as far as I'm concerned, from my own observation, have not really positioned themselves, have not been able to change the narrative with the way that the average Nigerians looked at them. Because, please let me quickly say this on this point. We should not celebrate yet. Remember, this is not over. The fact that it has been voted for, there's a procedure for the amendment of the Constitution. You still have to go to different state houses of assembly. Even though the president does not really have to assent in this case, because it's not a bill, it's a constitutional amendment. But it's just the beginning, and it's already showing the quality and the type of leaders that we have. So my point is, in the first instance, what is the motivation for service? I am among those that hold an opinion that no man should be voted into any offices who have not proven his worth in any other department of life. Politics should not become an occupation in Nigeria. That is one of our problems. When a man wakes up and you say, what do you do? I'm a politician. What has he done? How many businesses has he had? How many systems has he built? For me, there may be some other people that have cases with our current governor in Edo State. For me, he's one of my heroes. Now, it's not perfect. There are some issues that may not go down well with me. But it shows that is a man that have been able to handle some certain offices in another sphere, see how system work. Can you imagine the level of training that is currently going on in the Edo Best, for example? Sorry, in the educational sector. When the governor is approaching reforms through public consultation, town hall meetings. Now you start to know that this is a man that is not just a full-time politician, but is a man that has been able to conquer in other feats. Part of our problem is that we take politics in this country as a full occupation. Why will you lead me when you have not proven your worth in the business sector? Or when you have not served as a civil servant? Or probably you have not have some antecedent of community and grassroots intervention as a social affairs analyst or an NGO championing a cause over the years. You don't have an antecedent? You just wake up because your father is a politician, you also become a politician, and your means of livelihood is public fund. And you are telling me that I should use my public fund to send you abroad for medical tourism? because of your colleague. You are telling me that I should give you immunity to continue to perpetuate impunity. You are telling me that we should allow you to become a pension after you have been robustly endowed by the Nigeria Constitution in terms of all aids and allowance. Do you know, on a final note, that there was a time I did a research on the past Senate President of the 8th Assembly. He had over 90 personal aides. I mean, these are people that works for him as housemaid everywhere, all his itineraries, about over 90. Now, these are alarming. You know, the personal aid that follow them, and those are our money. You know, these guys will do anything to rip the public off, to pound the budget, just for their personal interest. So my submission is this. The goal of constitutional amendment should focus more on how it affects the people, how it benefits the people, the reaction of the people, the mood of the nation, how are the people thinking, what is their psychology, what is their present state, politically, economically, and in terms of reactions to public issues. Then, what stand should I take that will benefit them and not me? If the goal of constitutional amendment is me, then I have a problem. It's just like we're talking about the gender-based issue that my colleague veered into. Maybe as time goes on, you veer into that. I have a problem with rejecting all the bills for the women. I mean, that's not making sense. Because our men seems to be insecure.
Okay. Now, my guests seem to be itching to really talk about the gender bill. And unfortunately, we don't have a woman here, but we have monitored what women have done. The wife of the president actually attended plenary section of the Senate just because of the gender bill. But unfortunately, she was not honored with the votes. And the wife of the vice president attended the House of Representatives plenary section just because of the gender bill. And unfortunately, too, the bill did not pass. And various women groups, like we said on Wednesday, occupied the gate of the National Assembly in protest against the rejection of women-related bills at plenary. The lawmakers on Tuesday rejected all women-related bills, including the one seeking to give at least 10 slots to women as ministers and commissioners in the federal and state governments failed at the upper legislative chamber. In protest against this, the women gathered on Wednesday morning at the Three Arms Zone and marched to the National Assembly gate in Abuja, chanting songs of solidarity against the move by the lawmakers. The women said they were disappointed, despite having assurances from the leadership of the House on the bills. The groups demand that the federal lawmakers take another look at the request for 111 seats for women, citizenship, 35% representation in party leadership, more appointing positions in government, and vote in favor of these amendments. The protesters later put a call to the Senate Minority Leader Eyinaya Abaribe, who was in solidarity with the women of the hallowed chambers when the vote on the bill for women was rejected. So many groups, including United Nations Population Fund, UNPF, Federation of Muslim Women Association, FOA, Women Organization for Change in Agriculture and Natural Resource Management, Association of Women in the Arts, Women in Business, Action Aid, Yanga Africa, the Islamic Youth League, among others, were part of the protest. Well, my guests will elaborate on this gender bill that was rejected by the lawmakers immediately after this break. Okay, it's always a delight to have you back. We are always delighted to know that you're spending your 60 minutes with us on the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. My guest, Dr. Elvis Agbonaima, and of course, Runsel Saige. They've made very, very wonderful comments so far on the amendment to the 1999 Constitution. But before we continue, because we need to talk about the women gender bill that was rejected. There is a man, a leader of a Yoruba socio-political group known as the Afenifere, Chief Ayo Adebanjo. He is not happy with what is going on in terms of the amendment to the 1999 Constitution. Rather, he has a different view. He believes that the Constitution, 1999 Constitution, should be changed completely, not amended. Well, different schools of thought. But let's focus on the issue of the gender bill. The women were asking for a lot of things. 35% representation in party leadership, more appointed positions in government. They want the lawmakers to actually look at their requests. They want to be giving political appointments. Women should be recognized. But Dr. Elvis Agunaima, you just made your statement just now, but you need to elaborate. Now, the women don't have the strength to struggle with the men. We have a male-dominated society, and the women have looked at this. For instance, when you attend political meetings, sometimes, I don't know why, maybe Runsel will tell us later. Now, most political meetings are held in the night. And husbands will not allow their wives to attend such meetings maybe by 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And it's to the disadvantage of the women, because if they don't attend the meetings, certain decisions can be taken. But if they know that all political parties know that this is the percentage given to women, the House of Assembly know that this is the percentage given to women, the National Assembly know that this is the percentage given to women. So it's a slot allocated. Don't you think it will help for us to also see the leadership qualities in our women? Don't you think so?
First and foremost, sir, let me say this.
Yes.
Politics is a game of numbers.
Okay.
In politics, like in Nigeria kind of politics,
yes,
in all these political parties, women and the youth are more in numbers.
Okay.
It is just that the women in those political parties have not been able to team up to take a decisive decision.
Okay.
Because every political party, the women have straight there.
Yeah.
And the men knows this. If they are going to come out with a law, it will go straight to the parties. That's why there are some laws. There are, for example, they talked about, 35% for appointment. Those ones are very okay. They talked about women should be, given a lot of positions and all that. Those ones are okay. Is their right. But where I personally have an issue was giving a special seat to them in National Assembly, which is not possible. Because how do I mean? What the bill would have come from the party, that every political party must give a slot to women, so that those political parties can speak to their women, and women will be, those positions will be given to women to vote in for. Because if you are not saying that there should be a special seat for women in the National Assembly, for example, are you going to create another new constituency? You get what I'm saying now? Now that bill would have, direct the political party, not creating seats for them in National Assembly. Because anybody that want to come to National Assembly, you come through a political party. You get it now? Now, what they would have done, like I said, was come out with a bill to say, okay, we want each political party must give a slot to a number of women. Then they can start from there. Not coming to the National Assembly to say a special seat. That would be where the problem came. Having said that, I will still repeat it again. Women like you said, sir, that the meeting that is done, the political meeting, is always done at night. It is true. But even though they have done that meeting at night, they still need they still need the women when it is not day. Because politics is a game of number. Democracy is a game of number two. You get it? They still need the women. The meeting they have done at night, if the women did not agree, concur with them, it will not work. I'm telling you, sir.
Okay.
Every decision like you said, they have taken at night, when it is now morning, they needed both the men, the women, the youth to come in one accord. Okay. And there is, if you look at it, even a lot of things that happen in every political party,
yes, women
are key. If a governor is coming here now, or an aspirant is coming here now, he needed the women to be there to organize. In short, their position is very highly respected. Yes. It's just for them to organize themselves. And again, a lot of them are not involved. They need to go into evangelism, the gospel of preaching to themselves. Okay. To say, let's get involved. Because it's only few women that are involved in politics. That is where the challenge comes from. Few of them. There are a lot of our sisters, our daughters, they don't even know what is happening in any political party. You get it? What they need to do now is to preach to the women who are not even involved in politics, to their daughters, to get involved. Because I tell my people, my flocks, and listen, I say, when you fail to get involved, I am not a politician, but you as my flocks belong to a political party. Have a say there. Because when you fail to involve, then the people that have a questionable character, they will decide for you. But when you are involved, you are part of the meeting. Therefore, your opinion will be heard. You get it? Now, what the women should do, like I said, is to get their daughters, their mothers, their colleagues involved. Because we have a lot of women. Because all these political parties, all their systems are being driven, involved with the women.
Okay, thank you. I've just been told my third guest will be joining us now. That will be immediately after this break. Efosa Atoy will be joining us shortly. Oh, nice to have you. Back on the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. Current affairs program, we're actually looking at the amendment to the 1999 Constitution by the National Assembly. Is raising dust, is making Nigerians actually uneasy, creating cause for concern. Well, just joining us is a youth leader and also a very, very renowned analyst, Efosa Atoy. Nice to have you on the program. But before we allow you to make your comment, it will say, was it just about commenting on the issue of the gender bill, which was rejected by the National Assembly. They actually asked for 10 slots as ministers, federal level, state level. A quick one, Erunse, on the gender bill.
Let me quickly say that, okay. For me, basically it was a slap on the women folks.
Okay.
It is grossly unaccepted.
Yes.
Nobody is saying that possibly there are 5 major constitutional amendment requests might have scaled through.
Okay.
But for you to totally wipe up everything brought to the women that relate to gender equality is assault. Because currently, Nigeria does not rank well in terms of women participation in public offices. And this is one opportunity that the women saw. And that's the reason why you had, the wife of the vice president being present, just to give a moral support,
yes,
a present support, is a slap on the women folks. Let me quickly say that, I have a lot of reservations, like I was telling you, on what if the motive behind the house of our lawmakers in some of these constitutional amendments. Like I said, while we can applaud some few of them, like some of the few things that have been done,
yes,
like the judiciary proceedings going virtually, internet and all, it becomes worrisome when you take the issue of the state police and the women, involvement and requests that was totally slammed out. Now, let me quickly say this, sir. All over the world, time we fail me to go into name callings, and even in Nigeria, women are proving themselves to be exceptional in position of leadership. I quite agree that it may not be in all the cases, but let's take some few cases like the current international chairman of the WTO, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Even when she was a minister, she did not fail telling truth to power. She said it when the economy started collapsing, that she was saying it then as a minister, and said, the way we are going, just look at the memory of the late Dora Akunyili. Look at the revolution that she brought to NAFDAC. Look at the contribution of women like Dr. Joan of Yahweh. The reforms and revolution that she's doing in Edo State policy reforms. Look at the chairman of Nigerians in diaspora, Abike Dabiri. Now, my point is that it is not fashionable for our current Nigeria political actors to continue to push the women faith to the back seat. For me, it's a sign of insecurity and it's a slap on the face of the women. Okay. Because let me round up this way. Yeah. See, the men have been doing it over the years. Now, what I mean is we've had a major dominance in both political elective positions and or even key offices. What change have we seen? Instead of moving forward, we are not even static presently, we are retrogressing. So what is the fear about the women? Yes. You know, these are some of the things that cause for concern. It's a slap on the women's face and it's totally unacceptable by global standard.
We're going to ask some of the lawmakers, what's their fear? Okay. Well, like I said, they're just joining us is a youth leader. And we need to also know what the youths, to feel the pulse of the youths. And Fosato represents them. He's also a chairman of Farmers Association in terms of palm produce in Edo State. So he has a lot to really say. Now, looking at the Constitutional Amendment to the 1999 Constitution, some of the bills, let's just take a quick one. One, we're talking about the women now. Are you okay with the women gender bill that was rejected? Then you also look at the issue of the autonomy that has been granted to the local government. So a quick one.
Let me start from the bill on the women. I will applaud the National Assembly for throwing it away. That is not the issue now. Let us see it from this way. The women are not lesser beings. You mentioned about women that was one of the one that was the Minister of Petroleum, that the children were celebrating their birthday on the sky. Let me tell you, women are very good managers. Yes. What the National Assembly did, they should come out. I'm a practical politician. I'm a farmer. I will tell you what the women folks, they will say women will not buy form, but they will contest. They've seen themselves as lesser being. If they have the wind and they have the popularity, a woman came out and contested for governor, president. How many women voted for her? Have you asked that question? It's something we should always address the way it should be. The National Assembly did what they did, not because they don't like women. We know the National Assembly, their side chicks are more. Their female friends are more. They are there. They are not anti-women. But the truth is this. Nigerians should understand what is our priority. We needed the INEC the electoral bill to be assessed to. And that is done. Fine. The local government autonomy. Crime now is because our local government is dead. That is why crime persists. Look at what they did in Autonomy. In these modern days, they said youth. I was happy that they don't say Fulani. They will play politics and say these are S-men. But we saw it. Women gave birth to those children. The society is not about where you are coming from. It's from the home. I came to this program late. He called me. I never wanted to tell him my location. I come from the farm. Went to church to come and attend to this. I said, look, I'm in a program live. We are doing it now so that our children now will not suffer. Most of our parents were weak. They kept quiet thinking prayers and other things will change the situation. The numbers of churches we have now and the numbers of industry, compare them. What Nigerians should do, about the National Assembly, the women, all the women I saw just in protesting, they should take them one after the other. Women, fighting for women. Like this state now, Edo State government has promoted women folks. You will see that the women of different, and they are performing. When they talk, you know that this will have this taste. Today, the vice chancellor, people don't like her. But go there and see the kind of reform she has brought to the school. Let us tell ourselves the truth. Let the women sit down, call themselves together, do their homework. The children they have, it's not to give them food, put fat money in their account. They should give them morals, values. They don't say fatherland, they say motherland. They've all failed. Our children are now ritualists. Where did they get it from? Because they want to make it. Mommy will say, no, you buy a phone of 100 and something and give a child. Your father will not do that. We parents, we fathers, we know how to pamper our children. But you see them, they say, no, leave them, leave them. The thing has got into the society now, and the society is a mess. All we need to do, you go to the church, the women are they dominate the church. Yet, the gospel is not to the children. Who will tell the children? The bishop or the priest? Any woman, I call them Indomie generation. Some of us who are still privileged to have our mother still alive. Whenever I pay a visit to her, she still asks me some matter question. How is my children? How is business? How is this? We are in a generation, a child will just come up and come with a car of 30 million. The mother will start dancing. The Lord has done it for me. Is that kind of a woman you want them to give power to? We want us to understand that our society in Africa is a value, is a communal system where we know ourselves, we know what we do. Who promotes mediocrity? It's the women folks. And at the end of it all, a man can stand this way. I'm not trying to say I'm married. I'm not a gay. I'm married. I have 2 daughters. You know, I have a mother. I have sisters. I'm not against the women folks, but what we are saying, the demonstration yesterday does not call for. In a political party now, I'll be running for a position now. I will pay. They will tell you for women it's free, and they are happy. They are happy. How will you win? But those women who won, I want you to name them. How many women in Jonathan's regime that was minister, and how many of them has left the hook of EFCC? We are talking of Okonjo-Iweala. Yes? So people are there to make their name. We cannot compare women now. All we are saying in that bill, let the women readjust themselves. Let them go back. They are more in politics. They are more in the society. The men are very few. So if they say you want to do this, and we have the confidence in you that yes, you can deliver, why would not vote a woman? If a woman becomes a president, I was looking at one analysis, was it 2 days ago? They said what is happening in Ukraine, the way the Germans are responding, assuming is the former chancellor.
Williams.
No, okay. In Germany. Yes. What is her name? I've forgotten her name. It will have been slow. You see what the guy is doing? He's letting the world know that, look, we cannot watch our hand. He's the first European leader who came out and said, no, let us support Ukraine. But we know what is going on. That is not our issue. In this present, I came in late, and I will say this. I have a different opinion about what is going on. In our country today, we've entered electional year. I'm happy today that whoever that want to contest, you will tell us what you want to do. In 6 months, you will be a common man, not holding a position and be telling me you want to be this, and that position is very viable. Then when you win, you throw this one away. No. You see, anytime I read the electoral law, I say the time has come for people like us to rethink and see who can come in. Let us clap for them. And this autonomy is not the first time. Edo State
local government autonomy.
Yes.
Okay.
Local government autonomy.
Yes.
They passed it before.
In the 8th Assembly.
God bless you.
The 8th Assembly.
See, did you know this election?
Yes.
Anybody who was a member of House of Assembly in Edo that rejected and said, I will be a slave to the executive, if that person comes out again to contest for any position, I'm not saying they should stone them, they should ask them this question. You decide to be a slave. A slave cannot lead us. It's a question I want us to understand, because tomorrow people will say this and this. I will say this, there is no time for me to add, but all I need to add to this today is an opportunity for we to educate our younger ones, especially our female children. They should not see themselves less than a man.
Thank you very much, Efosa Atoy. We actually allowed you to comment on these issues because my other guests have really commented on the issue before you joined us. You actually apologized immediately you stepped into the studio for coming late. We hope to have you again and probably be able to expatiate on some public issues. But a quick one, because the program, time is not always our friend. Dr. Agbonayima, a quick one, your closing remark, quick one.
For me, I will advise the women to team up.
Okay.
To team up, not to protect, to work together in one accord and to involve their daughters, their wives in politics. Because politics is a game of number. But if they are waiting for them to just get a special seat, national assembly, it will not work.
Thank you. A quick one, Arun said.
Time will fail me to go into facts and history.
Yes.
But for me, it is shocking when a politician asserts that women have not been in the forefront. For me, it is surprising. Any politicians that does not promote inclusiveness in politics these days should not be taken serious.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. We're going to have you again. Thank you very much. My guests, you can see that we are ready. We are ready to move on, but time is not our friend. Osagi Arun said, thank you very much. Dr. Elvis Agbonayima, thank you very much. Efosa Atoy, thanks for your contribution. That's the program for this week. My name is Ego Sagmola.